Welcome to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast.
Oh, yeah. Sitting here reading. Oh, there it is. Crispy.
Well, welcome in to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Hayes, with Matt Baker.
That's me.
You can find us at www. I should have wrote it. I got to write this down somewhere so I don't have to try to remember off the top of my head. avgffpod.com.
I was about to throw it out there for you.
Oh, I don't know why my brain just blanks stupidly at different points. So anyway, we got a beer of the week Baker found. It's called Peach Please from Wild Leap Brewery. It says it's an ale with cinnamon peach flavor.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's good. I'll wait. Let me taste it first. I want to read on the back. It says, if you don't do wild things when you're young, you won't have anything to smile about when you're old. Peach Please is a bold ale serving up juicy peach, rich caramel malt, and a dash of cinnamon for a flavor that's straight up irresistible. So grab one, kick back, and enjoy, because settling for anything less. Peach Please. I like that.
This is like, it's super mellow.
I don't taste the peach.
No, I don't either. It almost tastes like drinking water. It's very like.
I don't know. Well, it does have flavor. It does have flavor.
That cinnamon though, that the cinnamon washes the whole back end. I
taste no peach in this at all. I don't. Maybe if I had peach with it, like I haven't had a peach in a while. I drink peach flavored stuff. But if I had an actual peach,
peach,
you know, there's
always
certain
sweeter and sugary.
There's certain orange beers or whatever. If you put an orange slice with it, it'll bring out that flavor, and it's because it kind of reminds you what the flavor's supposed to be. I guess
this is really good to me. Like
I don't think it's bad, but I don't taste any of the peach.
It's not like it's very.
I'm wondering if they accidentally put. Wait a minute. On third.
The more you drink, the better it gets. Honestly, like I
definitely taste the cinnamon.
The cinnamon is
absolutely.
It's really cool. Like the way it just lingers.
It lingers, but it doesn't show up until the end of the sip.
Yep, until it's what's left after you swallow. I don't know. I like it.
I will say it's a confusing flavor, and not in a bad way.
Yeah, no, it's not disgusting.
No.
It's
I
not
could definitely drink them.
It's not amazingely great. It's not like, oh my God, this is the best beer I've ever
it's not
had.
like a Hogarden.
but it's mine's halfway gone. By the way,
yeah. No, it's I will say it's refreshing.
It's 6.5% too. So
is it? Oh wow,
you gotta respect the beer a little bit. But
I will say if you're into flavorful beers, this one is really good. It's really good. I would highly recommend trying it out, because it is absolutely one of the more interesting flavor profiles that we've ever had as a beer of the week.
It's
by a long shot.
I hate that I wanted it to be so peachy.
I was expecting the Snapple peach flavor, or the peach,
the monster,
the peach monsters that we have, and so it's definitely not anything. If you're expecting that sort of peach flavor, it is non-existent. There's really no sweetness to it. I wouldn't say it's bitter, but there is a hint of bitter. I would say,
yeah, it's weird. If it didn't have the cinnamon, it probably wouldn't be good at all. I think if the cinnamon kind of levels it all out. And
see, for me, it's like I do taste the cinnamon, but it's like I don't know. Somehow the flavors all make it. It tastes like a chocolate type. I don't know. It
does say caramel. I mean, it is like
that's
caramel.
True.
I mean,
the caramel. So it's definitely a confusing. But really I could definitely drink them, and I didn't know it was 6.5. So that's interesting as well.
Yeah. So be careful. Be careful.
Well, where we left off last episode a couple weeks ago, we do apologize for that. Life gets busy around this time. Well, it's been busy for Matt especially, but it's been a little busy for me too. Stuff's been picking up since it got warmer. And so it's one of those where on days where I could do it, Matt couldn't do it. And on days where Matt was cool with it, I couldn't do it. So,
and next week I'll be out of town. I'm leaving Sunday through Wednesday. We got to figure out darts too, but maybe Thursday,
of next week or something.
Out,
we are getting ready to start ramping up and start getting ready for the season. The redraft season is right around the corner. We got to start doing team profiles. Start breaking down our predictions for the year, our smashes and passes and sleepers and all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to start diving into, start hitting on some mock drafts. I think if we can get an episode in next week, we'll probably do a rookie mock draft since we have not done one yet this year. Maybe so we can get Terrell or Bus or both of them in for a Thursday show, which I don't think Bus can do Thursdays, but
we'll hit him up. His schedule may move around too. It's everybody's changes.
And see, even if we can't get Terrell in studio, or Bus in studio, maybe we'll set it up with them in the mock, and then we can kind of talk about, because we'll do it on Sleeper where we'll create a mock and we can invite them in. And at least we'll have more people than just me and you. We can talk about their drafts. Yeah, and we can roast them for what they pick, and they won't be here to defend themselves.
Who the hell is this guy?
So we're going to probably try to do that next week, and then after that, we're going to try to start diving heavy into these teams and the profiles, the records, and all that good happy stuff. So, and then probably start knocking out some mock drafts as we get ready to move into the redraft season. So,
hell yeah. But
before we roll into that, let's hit on a little bit of news. A couple big contracts have been done. Derrick Henry got a 2-year extension, $30 million total. So that's good for anybody who still has him in Dynasty. You're pretty pumped about that.
Hell yeah.
Because that's a financial commitment.
I traded to get him last year in a couple leagues where people were giving up on him.
I traded him away to Terrell last year for I think a first
for this year. I think it was. I got him from Terrell.
Yeah.
Because I gave him a first straight up in like week 4.
Well, that's what he gave me. Yeah. So before the season started last year, I traded him away to Terrell, and then during the season when Terrell realized he wasn't going to be able to make it, he traded him to you.
Yep.
And so I don't hate that I did that deal, but I kind of hate that I did that deal because that team that I traded him away, I can't remember what the draft pick was. If I go back and look at that, I may feel better about it. But the team still, like, I got 1 year of like, this might be my last hurrah.
Yeah,
it's old. It's got CMC. It's got like Pacheco's like my next best back. I got a bunch of old wide receivers like Mike Evans and stuff. It's kind of like my bling team, and then it's the DC team. They're both got really good players, but you got like guys like Kelsey is there and stuff. So, and I burn a lot of draft capital to get these veterans, and now.
It was in Bling is where you got. So
yes,
he gave you a 2024 first for Derrick Henry. So that was 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago I traded him. Well, shit.
And last year I gave him Carson Steele in a 2025 first.
Okay, well, so you gave him a 2025 first.
Essentially, that was it. So I've got Derrick Henry sitting on my 9 years in the league.
Yeah,
the dude is just.
So I traded him away 2 years ago, thinking he's getting ready to go to die, and then so. But so I got these older teams, and I wish I'd have kept him now, but it is what it is. I don't know what I took with that pick, but I think I got. No, I didn't get Drake May. Maybe I did. Maybe I took Drake May because it would have been a late pick. I think Terrell was in the playoffs that year.
I can see what you did.
Yeah,
just for shits and giggles.
Just for giggles and shit. Just so I know. I mean, I don't know of anything in 2024 where I would have been picked that would have equaled the production of what Derrick Henry did last year, but maybe it's something that'll help me down the road. But yeah, he got paid 2 year $30 million. I'm pretty sure his second year is technically void. Most of his money's up front. So if they got to get out of it next year, they can and whatnot. So
I don't think it really matters because you probably traded that pick away. So
it would have been Terrell's 2024 first. So look at his.
So Say Win got that one. So
okay, so I traded the pick away.
But so I will say, if you had Terrell's 2024 pick, Say Win took Lad McConkey.
That would have been nice.
So that wouldn't have been a bad trade.
I definitely did.
That. So
I think that was part of the Kelsey deal then.
Yeah, because I'm looking at all the trades, all the first round picks you have in 2024, and there were none.
None. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and 2 of them weren't Say Win. How many second round picks?
You know how many first rounds I had in that league this year?
None.
Exactly 0.
You had no second round picks?
Nope.
And you had no third round picks?
Nope.
So
and I had no second rounds and no third rounds this year. And
but
I think I had 4th.
With your 4th round, no, you didn't have a 4th round that year. But with your 5th round pick, you did take Johnny Wilson.
Big Johnny
of the Eagles.
Still waiting for that to pay off. I might have already dropped him. I don't know.
Oh me! I hate going back and looking at drafts,
I think I had a 4th this year. Was the only pick I had in that league. So.
Oh wait, you did have a second. You had Rob King second.
Oh,
now that I'm looking, you drafted Drake May with that.
Okay,
so.
well, yeah, that's right. I knew I should have known that because I knew I drafted Drake May a couple years ago.
I'm looking at all the other. That's the only 2 picks you had in 2024 was Drake May.
Yeah, and in 2023 2025, I think I only had a fourth, but
sounds legit.
I'm holding on to my 2027 because I've already burnt the 2026s as well. I'm holding on to 2027 with dear life because that team is so fucking old. It's getting ready to just die, and I'm going to be in. I'll probably be in rebuild next year with no draft picks.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely if that team doesn't, if I don't think it's going to make the playoffs this year, I'm going to start burning. It's going to be a fucking sell.
I'm just going to get rid of everything.
Sell. I'm going to burn all.
I need seconds and thirds
and first if I can get them.
If you can get them, exactly.
I'll be.
I just need everything you can give me.
So we'll see. It's that one and DC are very, very similar. It's like the Saints. I feel like I'm the Saints where I just keep pushing things to the end of the year to try to stay competitive. But at some point, it's all going to catch up. All that salary cap stuff.
I tell you, Bling. It seems like I'm always right there, and then injury just knocks me
Don't
back.
forget those plaques.
Yeah, I got you. It just always every single. That's the only league that I'm in a constant competing rebuild.
Well,
I don't understand. Like I can't.
It's all been worth it only because I won the championship in 2020.
Yeah, and that's it.
So that's the only reason it's all everything's worth it because my name's on the plaque,
and that's it.
But my name's not on the plaque in DC, and so it's like I did all that work to build this team that's going to be competitive. And all I did was finish in second, I think.
I look at my team. I look at Bling right now, and I'm like, damn, I could fucking take it this year.
Yeah.
And I know week 11.
But your wife,
it's going to all fall apart. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
because her team's probably going to take it.
Yeah.
Every time I look at her roster, I go, man, I should start my rebuild right now. All right. So anyway, enough of our shit. So
our shenanigans.
Yeah. Derrick Henry got paid, and then of course, Brock Purdy got paid. They finally committed to him a 5-year, $265 million deal, so we can feel better about that. I have Purdy in a few leagues, and I didn't think they weren't going to re-sign him, but you don't ever know with Shanahan, dude. That guy just he's a good coach, but he has a very big ego, and he really thinks, and he's done so a lot of times, but I think he really thinks that he can just about win with anybody sometimes. And so I was getting real nervous the longer this contract stuff went.
The negotiations. It's crazy to me. Like I don't know if it's just me or if it's like the last 3 years from the fantasy side of it and everything. It just there's no guarantee for anything anymore. I mean, they sign these big contracts and then people vanish, or they don't sign a contract and all of a sudden they're super relevant and somewhere else getting big paid. It's so hard to keep up.
It used to be, and you're right. It used to be if you owed a player $40 quadrillion, then that
they
was your
played.
guy.
Yeah, they played the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you look at what happened with Matt Ryan and what the Falcons did. That was kind of the beginning.
Kirk Cousins and what the Falcons
they're doing. Well, they're doing right now. You know.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it kind of started like when. If you'd asked me the year that they released Matt Ryan and he went, or did they trade him to the Colts?
The Colts.
I can't remember if they traded him or if they released him outright. It might have been a trade. But either way, when they got rid of him to go to the Colts, the dead cap number was astronomical.
Yeah, what the hit they took financially was it was astronomical.
And it was just to get him gone. And then you see with the Russell Wilson thing with them getting rid of him in Denver.
Yep.
And now you're seeing what's happening, and it's like it used to be if you owed them this money, it was like fuck it, well, we got to ride with them till this is over. And now teams are like, you know what, we'll just eat it, throw the young guys out there, get rid of these guys off our roster. So you're right, and if they're going to do that with those guys, they'll do it with anybody.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's so hard, especially MVP caliber Matt Ryan is gone now.
Yeah,
and they're trying to put Desmond Ritter out there as a starter. Right. It's
they're willing to lose those games and eat that money they never used to want to do that. Oh, we should also mention, speaking of that, Derek Carr retired.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Derek Carr did retire.
Yeah, I guess the shoulder issues. Derek Carr is like the worst good quarterback or the best bad quarterback that's probably ever been.
I saw a meme or saw something come across as like he was Drew Brees light.
Yeah, super light.
That's what. But
he was like the Team U version of Drew Brees, but like. The Team U version.
Yeah, he was before the tariffs. He was the Team U version.
Yeah, and,
but yeah, no, it's sad. He still had a decent contract. He was third runner up for MVP one time.
Yeah, I think it was 2014 or something. He got hurt, but like he got hurt on a scramble, but before that, dude was lighting it up with the Raiders, and I had him in fantasy that year on a redraft, and Derek Carr was like carrying my team, and then he got hurt, and then it all fell apart for it. But
it's just funny. I think he finished 12th overall right now in yards
all
time yards, and then like something per touchdowns, top 20 or top 18 per touchdowns.
Him and his brother have combined for the losingest starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, of all 11 seasons. Of 11 total seasons or whatever, averaged out or whatever it was.
Yeah, crazy.
It's just funny when they throw his stats up there, they like to include he was the third runner-up for MVP one year. He wasn't the MVP, but he was the third runner-up for MVP.
Yeah.
I'm like, at a point, you just got to be like, look, just don't even put that stat out there.
Yeah, because I can tell you one thing. When you talk about Tom Brady, you don't ever have to bring up any third runner-up.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm sure he was. He didn't win it every year, so there's probably some years he was the third runner-up.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not going to be like, 7-time Super Bowl champ, such and such many time MVP, also third runner-up in this year.
6-time third runner-up MVP. Plays 13 years and was third runner-up 7 of those years. And the other 6 years, he got the MVP. So,
yes. Yep. But
it just makes me laugh, the way.
But the good news is that hopefully we don't have to worry about any murder balls being thrown to the receivers for the Saints next year.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Now I'm mad. I gave up Olave in a couple places. Like I'm just
Tyler. Was it Shook or Sook or Shook?
Show. No, that's New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The quarterbacks that's most likely going to start.
You had me thinking Raiders. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know where we're going, but when you said Raiders earlier, and I was thinking Derek Carr.
That's
his
Geno.
whole career. I'm like over here going Raiders. But yeah, Tyler. I think it's like it's SOUGH.
Well, it's pronounced way different than it is. But either way, he's most likely going to be the starter. Keep in mind, Kirk Cousins still hasn't found a home. I can't imagine the Falcons want him to go to the Saints though.
Yeah,
and Aaron Rodgers still hasn't found a home. Everybody's still thinking he's going to the Steelers.
Kirk Cousins might go to the Steelers.
Yeah. Or there's teams, the Browns need a quarterback that's worth a crap.
Yeah.
The Steelers need a quarterback that's worth a crap, and the Saints now need a quarterback that's worth a crap. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Yeah. I think the Saints are going to ride with the rookie, but
they still got
crazier things have happened.
Jake Hayner too, which is not good, but I mean it's still he started a couple games.
Yeah, if Hayner ends up being the starter coming out of, then they're really screwed. Yeah, we already saw what that guy.
And then there's Shadur Sanders? No, not Shadur.
No, he went Cleveland.
There's one more there that's.
I think it's Ritter.
Oh, is Ritter there now too?
Was it somebody else played last year? I thought it was Ritter, if I remember correctly.
Oh no, it's not Ritter. It's the other supposed first round. They picked him up in the 4th round.
Oh,
Rattler.
Yeah, Rattler.
Rattler. That's
basically New Orleans Ritter.
Exactly. There was a lot less draft capital though.
Yes,
so,
that's true. That. All right. Well, we're going to move on and finish out the draft. Talking about the draft picks for each team. All right. Well, speaking of the Saints, here we go. They are next up on the list. It is Tyler Shook is how you pronounce it, but it's spelled Shough. He was drafted in the 2nd round, 40th overall. And like I said, I believe he's going to be the starter unless they get into camp and they're like, wow, we shouldn't have drafted this guy, because based off of the quote experts, they reached for Shook in the 2nd. There was a little steam right before the draft happened about Shook's climbing up some draft boards. And so, maybe, coming out of Louisville, maybe they started seeing something. He has a great throwing arm. You will see some bad tape of him on that, on the internet where they're like, the Saints really moved up to draft this guy, and they shows it because in the combine, I think he completely whiffed on
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I don't think he did not have a good combine.
I went and looked at some videos of the guy because I was curious as to why I'd never heard his name hardly until he gets drafted in the 2nd round or whatever. And I was like, wait. So I went and looked at some stuff, and he doesn't look terrible, but he is older.
Yeah, he is older, and like I said, right before the draft, there was some steam about him possibly being drafted in the 1st round. So who knows? And then they drafted Devin Neal out of Kansas. Devin Neal is definitely a smaller back. He's a scat back. I don't even think he's 190 pounds, but dude was highly productive at Kansas. So we'll see how that pans out there.
Hopefully he helps take some pressure off Kamara, and they still run Kamara the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, not the whole time, but
Well,
like,
they're going. They just paid him not long ago too, so I imagine they want to try to get their money out of him.
Yeah,
real
exactly.
quick.
This is probably going to be.
I mean, their defense is solid. If Shook can go out there and be halfway competitive, the South is still wide open. I mean, the Bucs are probably the favorites with Baker and crew. But Atlanta's, nobody knows what the hell they are. Nobody knows what Carolina is right now.
Yeah.
And the Saints, nobody really knows what they are. So there's
the Bucs are the only like
questions in the South
brick. They're the brick wall right now. Like they're the most solid formed team of it.
Absolutely.
Even though their defense is kind of second class, I think they probably have like the third defense in the South, in my opinion. Like, but their defense is pretty.
The Panthers was pretty bad last year, so we'll have to see. I think the Panthers probably have the worst. So you said third.
That's what I was thinking.
I gotcha.
I was thinking like the I don't know, the Falcons had a pretty decent defense.
I would say the
last year.
Saints probably got the best defense.
The Saints had a good. So the Saints and then the Falcons, they're like
it's kind of a toss up between the Bucs and the Falcons, I would say, because if you look at what Baker, you look at what the Falcons did against the Bucs last year. I'm getting confused. It was Kurt who threw 5 touchdowns against the Buccaneers
against the Bucs last year. Yeah.
So I thought it was the other way around, but
I don't know. It's the Tampa is probably the best team.
Yeah.
On paper right now.
Absolutely.
So,
I think they're definitely the favorites. All right, moving on. The New York Giants. They drafted Jackson Dart in the second. At the end of the first, they traded back into the first to get him after drafting defensive player Abdul Carter, who was considered the top edge rusher. So they got Dart there towards the end of the draft. I don't think he's going to start. They did sign Russell Wilson, as we know. James Winston's also there. So I think as long as they're competitive, they're going to roll with Russell.
Yeah, it'll start off with Russell.
But if it ever starts falling apart, you'll see Dart out there for sure. And then who I've deemed the Great White Hope because everybody loves him, but I'm not going to say it's because of race, but I feel like it's a little bit to do with it. I mean, he's a hard nosed guy, but Cam Scatabo or however you want to pronounce it, I don't see him being as like the dominant. I think he's going to be good.
Yeah.
I think he'll be a great third down. He's a really good pass catcher.
He's going to be a short yardage
short yardage guy.
Goal line,
I just don't think he has the athletic profile to be a dominator in the NFL.
To take over. You think he's going to come in there and just completely take over Tyrone Tracy?
No.
And we're not going to hear.
Absolutely.
There's so many people out here that I keep seeing talking about how Tracy's stock's down. He's not going to make it.
He's definitely going to steal touches from. They're going to be. It's going to be a backfield by committee, but I just can't see Scatabo. But again, I think that's probably the same thing that everybody said about the guy at every level, and I said this before when we were talking about him. There's just something about him. You don't think he can do it, and he does it.
He just does it.
But he doesn't have breakaway speed. He's not particularly shifty, but he somehow makes people miss, and he can break for 15 yard run.
He's kind of a bull too. Like, I mean, he's just a gut. That's why I see him more in the short yardage.
He's a really good pass catcher. I would say he's borderline elite at pass catching.
Yeah.
So, and he did the equivalent of what he did in college as a pass catcher would be like what McCaffrey does as a pass catcher in the NFL. Like it would have been 100 and something had he been in the NFL receptions. So I'll give him that. And that's basically it. They did draft tight end in the 7th, but I think it's more of a blocking tight end. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm not saying don't grab Cam Scatabo because he's going to get touchdown opportunity, probably short yardage situations. So, and who knows, maybe he can overcome the doubters once again in the NFL.
And anybody, me personally, anybody that's got Tyrone Tracy needs to handcuff him because if there is that game that all of a sudden Scatabo shows up, shows out, then I mean they don't have the draft capital in Tyrone Tracy that they got in Scatabo, right?
Absolutely not. No.
So I mean,
Tyrone Tracy
was like a 5th rounder.
I don't even know if I think he might have been undrafted.
Was he okay?
But I don't know for sure.
I figured I was thinking it was a late round, like 5th or 6th round draft pick or something. But I mean, even still. It still stands.
There was a device that held,
that could tell us. That's ridiculous. That's way too easy. Who does that? But I feel like it's a late enough draft pick to where if Scatabo comes out here and starts showing up and showing out,
he was the 166th pick overall. So whatever that means. So divide that by 32. So
Actually, that's a little earlier than I thought it was going to be. That's the 5th round.
yeah. So you said 5th.
Oh, I did say 5th round. Okay, yeah. But I mean, even still, like that's a nearly a throwaway the way the NFL acts, nowadays. So he did really well last year with his opportunities given.
He did. I have a ton of Tracy. I also went and drafted a little bit of Scatterboo, so I have them both. But
kind of, that's a good cup to have. I mean, especially in an offense that's kind of up and growing. And
we just got to hope they score more. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because when you're running a committee backfield, they got to be getting touchdowns.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to be yards.
They did sign Darius Slayton to a 3-year deal. So, I mean, I'm telling you what, they're ready to compete.
All right, moving on to the Jets. The Jets, I'm with a little bit of foreshadowing. I haven't done the schedule yet. I'm not sure, but I might be low-key riding the Jets this year. I'm as a sleeper team.
Okay.
I just think they're. I think a lot of people have wrote them off and written Justin Fields off. But I like what they're doing. I like the coaching staff. You're bringing in the who was he? A quarterbacks coach. He was a part of the offense of Detroit. I can't remember. He obviously wasn't the offensive coordinator because Ben Johnson went to the Bears, but he comes from that same system, and I'm thinking he was the quarterbacks coach. But anyway. The offensive coordinator. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The offensive coordinator, not the head coach. The offensive coordinator they brought into the Jets, I'm pretty sure was the quarterbacks coach in Detroit. So I just think that if he's going to bring that type of system in, it's going to be real interesting. I think people are writing off Breece Hall. I think people are writing off Garrett Wilson. I think people are writing off Justin Fields a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so, we'll see. They took one pick I didn't like, but they there's some people that think he's going to be good as Mason Taylor in the 2nd round, the 42nd pick overall. The big knock on Mason Taylor is he just doesn't seem like he's got a lot of I don't want to say what everybody else says. So it doesn't seem like he plays angry enough.
Yeah.
He's like, he gets the ball, he gets hit, he gets tackled. Drive. Yeah.
He doesn't have enough
Yeah.
He ain't got that dog in him.
That's the thing I didn't want to say. That's what everybody said.
Okay, so he's got that cat in him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like I see where he just gives up on plays, kind of deal. Maybe not gives up, but he doesn't fight.
He doesn't fight for those extra yards. Yeah. If you look at you go look at his tape and you go look at Tyler, or is it not Tyler?
It's Warren.
Warren.
I think it's Tyler Warren.
The tight end.
Yeah.
So you go look at his tape and see, you'll see a stark difference in like desire.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but Mason Taylor, a lot say that he might be the most NFL ready, based off of how he plays it, and obviously his dad is a Hall of Fame defensive end, Jason Taylor. So he does have that pedigree in him,
lineage.
Yeah, the lineage. Yeah. So we'll see, but he's definitely worth looking at in Dynasty because I think he's going to get looked at. I mean, the next best tight end they have they did go out and get Stone Smart.
Yeah.
So who's also a low key stash? You can probably get him off waivers in most leagues. I mean, I don't know that he's going to do anything, but somebody's going to step up as tight end for that team. And especially if they're going to run that Detroit style offense. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for a second pass catcher for the Jets right now. You got Lazard still there. You got Malachi Corley, who was drafted last year, who hasn't done anything. They picked up another wide receiver in this draft, Arian Smith, out of Georgia, drafted in the 4th round, 110th overall. And so, I think if I looked on paper right now, I would say Breece Hall is probably going to be the second leading receiver behind Garrett Wilson. But there's opportunity for targets. They vacated a ton of targets from last year with Devontae Adams leaving, with Tyler Conklin leaving, and there's no real set number 2 pass catcher on that team. And so there's a lot of opportunity. Mason Taylor could step into that, or Stone Smart could step into that, or they could both be viable. Who knows what they decide to do. You look at, I try to look at what Detroit did with Laporta when he came out of the rookie year. It was really Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta. And then you had the emergence of J-Mo last year. And so it was really, you had that explosive player. And so it took away from Laporta, but But that first year when they didn't have it, J-Mo wasn't J-Mo, and there wasn't another receiver.
Yeah, because he missed a
It was
couple
tight
games
ends.
because of he missed some games.
He missed some games because of gambling and stuff like that.
There was a lot of
and then he was in the doghouse with the coach and stuff like that. And so it was towards the end of 2024 that J-Mo started, like, our 2023 that J-Mo started balling.
Yeah. And you saw flashes.
And then last year,
okay,
took it up a notch.
Here he is, and then he was back up.
And so, this could be a good year for the tight ends for the Jets, is basically what I'm saying. You saw what Justin Fields did for a little while with what's his lips in Chicago.
Or DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. I mean,
he had three.
He did three top receivers.
Yeah, but I mean, he made Cole Kmet a couple of years ago a top. I'm pretty sure he was a top 5 tight end.
He was a top 5. Yeah, for at least 75% of the season. They're towards the end of the season. I don't know, something changed, and like Fields wasn't Fields. Like there was a lot of the controversy.
It was Chicago.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. But you're right. I mean, he definitely fed Cole Kmet. He definitely looked to Cole Kmet. I mean, there was a lot of that.
And so I think that as much as I love DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, I think is a more gifted wide receiver. I don't know. I'm not going to say he's a better wide receiver because he's yet to prove it.
Yeah,
and so I
think like overall talent, not overall talented, but he is definitely a at least evenly talented wide receiver.
And they hired a defensive head coach, which means the offense is going to be given to the offensive coordinator, and he's going to be able to do his thing. It's not going to be controlled by the coach.
Yeah. And
so I don't know. I'm not rooting for the Jets, but they could be my sneaky pick for the season. I've been trying to get Justin Fields in some places because I think that he could be a sneaky ad in Dynasty.
I've been reaching here and there, but I don't know. Some people think the same way, and they're kind of wanting a little more than I'm willing to risk on it. But I will say, I mean, hell, they had top 3 defense in the league last year. So I mean, if they can hold that,
their defense is great.
Their offense doesn't really have to do much. I mean,
Sauce Gardner. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's what do you really need to do with, and especially if you got a somewhat of a beanbag schedule, a soft schedule. I mean, that's all it would take. And hell, you 14-4.
Yeah, I mean, the bad news is they play in the same division as the Bills. So
that'll be 1-1 maybe. Right. The Bills got to lose one too. So I mean,
Next on the list is the Eagles, and of course they had a ton of draft picks. They went defense for a vast majority of them, and a couple O-line. They did draft Kyle McCord in the 6th round, a quarterback out of Syracuse. Nothing big, but that was really the only offensive talent that they brought in through the draft. So there's not much to talk about there.
That's because they had to give up Kenny Pickett to the Browns, so Myles Garrett would stay.
Yeah, because he said he wasn't going to stay unless they got a competitive quarterback.
Yeah, Super Bowl quarterback.
They're like, hold our beer. We're going to get Kenny Pickett in here.
Hold our beer because he can't because his hands are too small.
Matter of fact, hold his beer for him. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they did draft some offense. They went with Caleb Johnson in the 3rd. Very, very sneaky pick up in some rookie drafts, and I'm not saying sneaky as in nobody knows about Caleb Johnson, but Caleb Johnson could theoretically be the 2nd or 3rd most used running back in this group, depending on how much faith they still have in Warren. But Caleb Johnson could come out of camp as the dude theoretically. Yep. And if he gets the kind of work that Najee got and Warren stays the backup, I think Caleb Johnson is a better running back, better athlete than Najee is and was with the Steelers. And so Caleb Johnson is somebody you can get in 2nd rounds of most rookie drafts, especially Superflex. And he could come out being better because, Amari Hampton went to the Chargers, but the Chargers also signed Najee Harris and gave him a little bit of money. So there's going to be competition there. You look at Travion Henderson, he got picked up by
the Patriots,
and he's going to be the dude with the Patriots. Don't get me wrong, but he's still competing with Ramondre Stevenson.
And it's the Patriots.
Yeah, and Antonio Gibson's also there.
Yeah.
And so, for me, Caleb Johnson going there was ideal, and he could – like I said, he could be pretty sneaky in the sense that he could be a far more productive running back than some of the other guys that were drafted ahead of him.
Yep.
And then they got Will Howard in the 6th. I will say in Dynasty, he's worth a stash on a taxi squad if you have it. I don't think he's going to become a great quarterback. He's a 6th-round draft pick. There's only one that I know of off the top of my head that ever did anything, and his name was Tom Brady.
Yep.
So I'm not calling Will Howard Tom Brady. I'm just saying if Aaron Rodgers goes there and it's like halfway into the season and they're not going to do anything, then Aaron Rodgers isn't going to stay the starter. Mike Tomlin runs that team. Will Howard will get the chance to start.
Yep.
And if they don't sign Aaron Rodgers, Will Howard's only got to beat out Mason Rudolph, who they brought back.
Yeah, and
okay,
that's not difficult. I mean,
no, Will Levis beat him out. So.
Just saying.
And so, just,
so did the other one that was running circles over there for half the time, and actually looked. No, he went to Green Bay. Never mind.
Oh yeah,
Malik Willis.
Yeah, but Malik Willis probably would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm, look, again, he's an absolute dart throw, low percentage chance he's going to be anything, but he's worth picking up if he doesn't get drafted. The only way he's probably going to get drafted in your rookie drafts if you have like 5-round rookie drafts.
Yeah,
and it's a super flex. Obviously, in a single quarterback, don't even fucking worry about it.
Unless you got a 12-spot taxi.
Yeah.
If you got like a big taxi spot,
but in
stash
Superflex,
them all.
Yeah. The other thing is he'll probably. I mean, I feel like Mason Rudolph is on. If Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, Mason Rudolph will probably get the first chance to keep him in the running. But again, I think if the team starts sinking, it's gonna Will Howard will probably be thrown out there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if they got to play the Browns, they're probably going to sit Mason Rudolph and play anybody else just in case.
Yeah, well, because Myles Garrett was the other thing was like they signed him as in his only other clause in his contract was he gets to punch Mason Rudolph in the face if he gets a chance.
The whole time, every time.
All right, the San Francisco 49ers, they did not do a ton in the draft when it came to offense. They did get a 4th-round wide receiver in Jordan Watkins out of Mississippi and a 5th-round draft pick of Jordan James out of Oregon. I don't know a ton about either one of them. They weren't really on any radars or draft lists that I was reviewing, so I can't really. I mean, if they were drafted in the 4th round, I feel like they have pretty good talent evaluation with San Francisco. So,
and it's kind of honestly,
and San Francisco running backs are always worth rostering. That's they should always. So. Jordan James, I mean, we may hear Jordan James comes out if as McCaffrey's backup out of camp. You don't ever fucking know when it comes to Shanahan and running backs.
And right now, really thinking about it, their wide receiver room's a little kind of all over the place too. I mean, with getting rid of Debo,
well, you got Juwan Jennings, and Pearsall's there, and
you got Ayuk. You don't know if he's coming back or where he's going to come back when he comes back.
Yeah, well, when he comes back. Yeah,
it's just a lot of question mark. Like, not saying that this guy could just show up and be part of it.
Yeah, you're talking about Watkins.
The receiver. But I would just it's a kind of a question mark room too. I like Ricky Pearsall, but I liked him last year and he had a couple games, but then he kind of went dormant again. So it was like I felt like he wasn't getting as much opportunity, and I don't know what that was for. So
I think he'll get all he can. I think he'll get all he can get this year, at least to start out. So
that's the hope. But if you take a shot on these guys, you want to make sure you at least know them.
Absolutely,
you're at least watching them.
All right, Seattle Seahawks. They took Elijah Arroyo in the 2nd round, 50th overall tight end out of Miami, and then they took Jalen Milroe, 92 overall. Out of Alabama, both of those guys, you want to roster in dynasties for sure.
Yes.
Milroe is the best quarterback athlete to come out probably since Cam Newton, as far as physical attributes. But he could be a better passer. It's be tough to be a better passer than Cam in his heyday, but he could be. He's very raw, but again, Sam Darnold's only been good. For a year, yeah, and it was only for 16 games because he had a couple bad games in the regular season, and then he doo-dooed all over himself in the postseason.
The postseason, it was definitely.
And so I don't know if it's the system in Minnesota that made Darnold good, or did Darnold finally figure it out? We'll find out this year. Stay tuned.
Definitely, something will be determined.
But Darnold could go out there and see ghosts again and just start crapping everywhere. And if that happens, Milroe might get a shot. Well, one of my favorite late ads in rookie drafts or even waiver wire ads is Torrey Horton, wide receiver out of Colorado State. Very talented wide receiver. And you look at the wide receiver room for Seattle. You got JSN, obviously. Cooper Kupp's there. And then it's just like, all right. And then Cooper Kupp's old as balls. And so there's opportunity there for somebody to step up. And then they took Damian Martinez. Damian Martinez out of Miami was a running back that I really liked pre-draft. But they took him in the 7th round, so it's tough. They've all obviously got Kenneth Walker there and Charbonnet. So it's going to take injuries for Damian Martinez to get hurt or to get playing time. But he's got good size. He's got good speed. And he had good production at Miami. So, he's definitely worth an ad on a taxi squad. And then I don't know who Ricky White III is out of UNLV, but he was drafted in the 7th round. So
yes, they don't know who he is either, really. So.
All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they went with Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. It was very surprising with the 19th overall pick. A lot of us were, that basically we feel like that basically kills Jalen McMillan, at least for this next year. Because McMillan does not have that kind of draft capital.
Yeah.
But with the injuries that Chris Godwin has somewhat frequently, and Mike Evans has been known to miss a few games, there could be opportunity for both him and McMillan to get plenty of touches. But I really like Egbuka. There's nothing like flashy about Egbuka. He's not super fast. He's not super big. He's not super whatever. He's just
a good receiver.
Yeah, he's just a good receiver. He runs really good routes. He's able to get separation. He's just a professional wide receiver. So, but for them to take him in the 19th overall, that's where I'm putting my hopes in when I can get him. Usually getting him towards the end, late in the first round. Sometimes you can get him early second, depending on if you're in a super flex or how your leagues are.
How the draft works out. Yeah.
But he's I think probably the 3rd best receiver in the draft, depending on how you guys feel about Golden. So he's a 3rd or 4th, I would say. But I would take him over Golden personally. But yeah, and then they took Tez Johnson out of Oregon with the last pick. I don't know really anything about Tez Johnson. I mean, he's a 7th round draft pick. So
yeah, they again do not know very much about him either. So just know that he is beneath Sterling Shepard on the depth chart. So.
Yeah. That's true.
That'll tell you what they feel of him right now. So
probably a special teams ad. The Tennessee Titans, they took Cam Ward. We all knew it. They didn't make any moves to try to pick up any quarterbacks in the offseason, and we knew they weren't going to ride with Will Levis. So Cam Ward with the number 1 overall pick out of Miami. He's a gunslinger. He by my estimation, the best quarterback in this draft class by a pretty good margin. And I think hey, the good news is when they get drafted number 1 overall, they're going to get at least a couple, 3 years or so to figure it out. And so if you get him, you're going to have a starter in Superflex, and barring injury or something crazy for the most part for at least a couple years. I mean, Bryce Young did get sat a few times. But if you go back historically, he'll get the work, I think.
Yeah.
How good he's going to be, I don't know. It's still up in the air, but hopefully he's good because I have a lot of him.
I've got quite a few shares of him as well, especially in Superplex. I had
the 103 seems like in a lot of my drafts is where I've been getting. Well, I've been stuck, and a lot of those teams are rebuilds that really are lacking quarterback depth.
That's like a lot of mine are. I'm in a rebuild situation, and Genty doesn't help me, so I rolled back, and then grabbed him plus. So it kind of helped me out in 2 aspects, and it may not make me competitive this year, but if he comes out and shows up, I can have an edge mid-season and be able to make a run, kind of trade into it. So it's a good shot. I don't like the Atlantis, but I'm kind of sad on Tennessee. I don't know. They've had a freaking, outside of Tannehill 6 years ago, a top fantasy quarterback in a long time. You know what I mean? Like,
and Tannehill was really like a 12.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's so tough to really put a lot of eggs in that basket, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. So the 4th round, they took some more offensive weapons with the 103rd pick overall. They took Shamir Dyke out of Florida. He seems pretty good receiver. I watched a little bit of film on him. Nothing kind of jumps, but he's a 4th round pick, so there's something to be said for that. Gunnar Helm, tight end out of Texas. I've been adding him a lot on waivers. He didn't generally get drafted unless you have, like, again, 5-round rookie picks. Most of the rookie drafts I'm in are 3 rounds, so he's usually on waivers. I've been picking him up. And then Alec Ayamaner, I hope I pronounced that right. But again, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know a ton as far as him or Shamir in their abilities. I did not do a deep dive on either one of them when I was doing my scouting because they just weren't, it's not a deep class. So I just kind of stuck to the big names. So,
well, and also too, I mean, it's Tennessee and there's a lot of age there.
Yeah, I mean there's
as far as
opportunity.
receivers go. I mean,
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley are their top 2 receivers right now, and they're both withdrawing disability and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
and then you got Traylon Burks who can't seem to get out of his own way.
Well, he's been withdrawing disability before these guys were.
Yeah, he was drawing in his rookie year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this dude. But I mean, there's a lot. Now they're going to have to definitely fight for a spot. Van Jefferson's there, so he's gonna show up 2 games of the season. But yeah, no, this is a team that's kind of like it's kind of hard all the way around. Even in the running back situation with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears.
Yeah,
I want Spears, but
we got another one in the mix, Khalil Mullins.
Yeah,
a lot of people are adding him late, even though he's a 6-round draft pick. It's just because the opportunities
they could, yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't know. Like there's so much uncertainty in this team collectively. It's really crazy.
Absolutely. All right, and then the last team we're going to hit on, the Washington Commanders. I expected them to take an early running back, and they did not. They went offensive tackle in the first round, and then they grabbed a corner in the second. And then in the 4th round, they went with Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech. I expect him to make much of an impact, but I think he was more like a special teams ad for them. But again, you don't really have a number 2 receiver to step up. They got rid of Diami Brown there. Luke McCaffrey, they're hoping something comes out about him.
Yeah, he didn't look great last year. He couldn't get open.
Well, I'll take that back. They traded for Debo, so I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I should remember that. I keep forgetting Debo went to Washington. So you got Debo there, and if he's going to have that second part locked down, but there's really not a third option at wide receiver. I think Luke McCaffrey's probably going to end up being that guy, but maybe this is Jalen Lane. Who knows?
That's Zach Ertz is going to be the third. Yeah, I mean, they re-signed him for this next year.
Yeah, maybe they'll run 2 tight end sets and get Ben Sinnott.
Get Sinnott out there, man. That would be nice. I got Sinnott quite a few places.
And then a running back I know nothing about, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt out of Arizona.
Late, right?
Yes,
got him like
7th round.
Yeah, it's super late.
So I don't know a ton about him, but there it is.
You said Ja'Cory, or no, wait, who's that?
It's Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt.
There he is.
Yeah, I'll tell
I was
you.
just trying to look. So
he's 5'10". He's 5. Well, I got him at 5'11" or 5'10", 206.
Yeah, 5'11", 208. This is but he's 24 years old. He's kind of old.
Oh wow,
there it is. Don't give up.
Okay, I just have to close that whole page. So go ahead and read it. I was trying to read it.
Yeah, no.
Apparently the ad's going to yell at me.
5'11", 208, but it also says he's 24 years old. So
yeah,
that's.
But I mean, the age thing is generally something I care about. But with all this COVID year and stuff, I don't know. RJ Harvey is old as balls too, so that's. Yeah. But with running backs, you only get one contract generally, anyway.
Yeah. So you're looking at he's going to come in if he gets yeah. So he'll be re-signing the same time Derrick Henry was re-signed.
Yeah.
Get a 29. He'd be 29 years old, re-signing his contract. Not really, but yeah.
So we've been in some rookie drafts. So before we close out, I was going to hit on some stuff that I've been seeing in drafts. If you're on Sleeper, ADP is jacked.
Oh, it's super jacked.
Unless the last updates have fixed it.
It's still pretty crazy. I did I'm in the middle of one right now, and it's still kind of crazy. So yeah, I've got to scroll to get anybody that I want.
Need this year more than any. If you're in a league with people who don't know what's going on, that's great because that means you can probably get all the value of the people like the Kyle Williams and the Pat Bryants and stuff like that who are showing like bottom of the list ADP. But it's weird. Like in some leagues I'm in, the ADP is okay, and then some leagues I'm in, it's a total nightmare. So
yeah, it's scoring. I've realized I'm in a lot more obscure, non-general scoring leagues than I have been in the past. For instance, like we've got a lot of this 1.5 point tight end premium, this 0.1 point per carry running back leagues, half point per carry running back leagues.
Yeah.
These pretty stacked for particular positions, and that really, I think that their algorithm for their ADP doesn't truly reflect the league as appropriately as it should. And that's where it kind of upsets the whole in general.
I also think in some ADP leagues,
IDP leagues.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
IDP
I knew
leagues,
where you were going with this. But
I think it messes with some of that as well.
It does.
Because they've never been able to get the IDP rankings.
It's always
sorted.
Been askew. Yeah, it's definitely been all over the place.
I actually emailed it about some IDP stuff last year, and the ADP for IDP and how messed up it was. And the guy basically told me, he's like, yeah, we have a ton of other stuff that we have to deal with, so we expect to get to it, but they're not. It's not our primary focus because there's not as many IDP leagues. It's like, oh, I got you. So we're not as important.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Yeah.
So he never answered me back when I did that. I was kind of a dick to him, but it is what it is. But
that is what it is.
And then some other stuff I was going to throw out there is some trading crap. So I just want to put this out there to people who do trades. I get that you want to win a trade. I understand that. I also want to win trades. But for the love of all that's holy, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're in leagues with me, if you send me a garbage offer, I am not countering. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people are like, well, you're not going to send a counter? It's like, no, dude. You're asking, you're trying to give me two guys that are barely like borderline waiver wire ads and a 3rd round pick for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Or some crap like that. And it's like, if I look at a trade offer and it's like the offer that I get is a huge margin between the value that I think what they're asking for is, I'm not countering. I'm not gonna try to work a deal with you when I'm trying to sell a car for $5,000 and you hit me up on Facebook Marketplace and you offer me $500 and a fucking can of Pringles. I'm not responding. And that's the kind of offers I've been getting on some players. And it's like, well, this is called negotiating. No, because now I've got 10 miles.
Yeah,
I got to walk 10 miles to get to you to even. If you're going to offer that, then I've got to turn around and if you're offering me $500 on a $5,000 car, then I got to turn around and counter you $10,000
or 20.
Yeah, so
to make it really feasible.
Yeah, so I can get you back because you're trying to meet me at $1,500 now.
Yeah,
and it's like if I think something's worth $5,000, I might be worth. If I think a player's worth a mid first, I might be willing in a pinch to get rid of him for what I think is going to be a late first.
Yeah.
But if I've got to spend 3 days with you to get you to a mid-second, then what am I doing? Why am I even trying?
It's not even worth the fight. Coming from a salesman, someone who deals, I can't tell you how many times I'll be like, they're like, how much do you want for this? And I'm like, $5. And like, well, would you take 2? And I just go, no.
Yeah.
I'm in the negotiations right here because you asked me a question.
Right.
And I gave you an answer.
Right.
So like if I didn't, especially if I don't have someone on the trade block,
right.
That's what irritates me the most if I got like let's say I got CD Lamb.
Hold on real quick. I just want to say something about the trade block. Just because I put a motherfucker on the trade block doesn't mean I'm trying to sell him for pennies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're not trying to give him away.
That's me sending out a beacon to everybody to say this person's available if you want to send me an offer.
You want to come get this guy?
Yeah.
Come get him.
Yes.
But it's going to be.
But like you said, if he's not on the trade block and you send me a shit offer, I'm not in there.
That's even the worst.
Fuck out of my face.
If I got CD Lamb and you're hitting me up talking about, let me give you the 201 and freaking, I don't know,
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker and the 201 or something.
It's like
for CD Lamb.
What does that do? That does nothing for me whatsoever.
Absolutely.
I mean, so why would I even consider it? Now, if he was on the trade block and you sent me that, I might consider countering just to show you where I'm at with the value.
Right.
But if he's not on the trade block, that's a waste of your time and mine. I mean, it's a shitty offer.
I've already put him out there. If I've got a player that's on the trade block, that's a really good player. Like say I got Justin Jefferson, because my philosophy is everybody's for sale for the right price.
Oh yeah, no doubt, 100%.
If somebody hits me up and they go, "Hey, any chance you're looking to deal Jefferson?" I generally will say anybody's for sale, but some people you're going to have to overpay for.
Yeah.
And he's one of them.
Yep.
So if you really want him, you're going to have to come correct. Now, that doesn't mean they still do. But the other thing is, and we talk about this all the time. If I have a player, we'll say this player is worth 100, whatever you want to call it. We'll just say this whatever this player is, Justin Jefferson, he's worth 100.
Yep.
Sending me freaking 5 20s of a player is not the same as 100. It isn't. Just because some calculator somewhere said these 5 players equal this one player, it's not true, because this one player takes one bench spot or one spot on my team, and he takes one spot in my lineup, and he accumulates as many points as at least 3 of the clowns you're trying to dump on me. And I don't have starting spots to do that. Now, if you're going to do something of that nature, then they better be potential. Well, the only way I burn a player for multiple players is if those multiple players have potential. I'm not trying to pick up four old dudes for one dude, and it just doesn't make sense. So quit sending the garbage.
If I'm trading 100 of a person, I need 2 80s.
Yes.
Or I need an 80 and a potential draft pick of my
absolutely,
to where I can make that up.
Yes.
Like, that's what I'm looking for in a trade. Is I want to replace this bench spot and then get something that doesn't cost me a bench spot until later when I need it to cost me. So it's crazy. Like, if 2 80s is equal to 100 in my opinion, if you account for the amount of space they eat up on your
roster space and this and the point replacement that I've got to now accumulate in my lineup. Because if I get rid of a Justin Jefferson and I don't have a CeeDee Lamb or something crazy like that, then I now have to find 2 players that are going to get me what one player got me.
From what that was.
Right. Yep. Now, if I'm going to rebuild and I got a CeeDee Lamb or something like that, and I want to burn them, then like you said, I'm burning them for assets. I'm burning them for people who are going to be something down the road. Give me a Ricky Pearsall and a couple firsts.
Who might be 100 later. These people that might be.
And if he turns into nothing, whatever, but I had to take my shot because I'm trying to rebuild and I got to move on. And so it's like I got rid of Jalen Hurts for what ended up being Cam Ward, Quinshon Judkins, and then I think 2 seconds for next year or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
In a super flex. And it's like, because my team is trash and I've got to start rebuilding. So I need assets. Is Cam Ward as good as Jalen Hurts? Absolutely not.
No.
Maybe he becomes that. And if he doesn't, then I got to eat that.
Yep.
And is Quinshon Judkins as good? No, not right now, but in 2 years, maybe they both are. And maybe I've got something going, and that's when Jalen Hurts is starting to go down. Who knows?
That's when it really matters, is when you can potentially use 4, because you can replace 4 duds with 4 maybe bonuses. And that's when it matters.
That's the big thing. And it's just this idea of I'm going to put this package together and send it over. And it's like, I look at the package and I'm like, there's no one piece of this package that is appealing to me.
Yeah, somebody sends you the 110 DeAndre Hopkins and Nick Chubb for your CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, dumb shit like that.
Like, what does that do for me? That does absolutely nothing.
Zero. It does zero for me.
You gave me a first, so you can have CeeDee's left leg, and then I get the rest of the points. Like, it's
basically you're clearing your roster. It's actually it's helping you too, because you're getting rid of 2 boat anchors off your roster. And you're getting rid of a late first.
I'll wait and pick them up off waivers in 2 weeks. So
exactly.
You come at me with that mess.
Yeah.
If I need something, I would rather hold. I don't know who's a no-name wide receiver that is a 3rd year or 2nd year that might do, rather than picking up D-Hop at this point.
Quentin Johnson
in a weird trade. Yeah, Quentin Johnson, or even hell, Josh Palmer.
I mean, I wouldn't do Josh Palmer. I would take Josh Palmer over D-Hop at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
unless I'm competing.
But you got to look at the fact that if they're offering me 2 guys who are potentially going to start over, I'm going to have to drop people off of my. So if I'm looking at it like I can pick up D-Hop and I can drop Josh Palmer, but I'm not competing this year, that doesn't help me at all. No. I would rather hold Josh Palmer in case something does work with the Bills, and then not even worry about D-Hop. You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
people.
No, I get it, dude.
They just look at these calculators and think that this is stone and this is.
And I'm not going to act like I don't use calculators. I use Keep Trade Cut all the
reference.
time. But I use it as a reference because my thing is I don't want to send something insane. So I'll look at somebody's roster and I'll go, I want player X.
Yep.
And then I'll say, what should I give up for player X? And I'll go look at my roster and I'll look at what they need. And I'll say, okay, well, they need running back. So I'll give up this guy, and a third-round pick. And then I go, let me make sure I'm not sending
way too much. I'm not way too,
yeah.
you know.
And so I'll go to the calculator, and the calculator will be like, you're insane, or it'll be like, oh, you're probably pretty good. And most of the time, I'm learning with my value, I'm pretty close to what the quote market is.
Yeah.
And so if I really want to get sure, I'll check multiple calculators.
Yeah.
But it's not, there's some calculators that don't do a good job in evaluating roster bonus or roster, type value. And then the last thing I'll say in regards to all this is know your league scoring settings. That dictates your market. If you're in Sleeper, it's real simple. If you want to know the kind of market that you're dealing with the players, go to leaders. When you're looking at your players, go to leaders. And if you want to know last year, click 2024 and either click stats or season average. And for your league scoring settings, it will bring up. And the reason I say this is that me and Matt are both in multiple leagues that are quarterback premium or running back premium and tight end premium. And the top
superbly. Now, this is
like a lot.
Superb, like well over what you would consider a real premium. Like,
yes,
some of these running backs, they're getting like half point per carry
plus 0.25 per reception bonuses.
Yeah, on top of it. So, I mean, you're looking at like a running back can score you 35 points a game.
I mean, there's in one league, Matt was running Zeke with the Patriots in his Superflex because he was outscoring Derek Carr every week.
And Kirk Cousins.
Every week.
He was outscoring both of them.
That was starting 2023.
2 years ago,
so it's 2023. Yeah. And he won a championship running Zeke in a Superflex over those two quarterbacks.
And I had, in my tight end flex place, I played 3 tight ends in that league because they were getting 1.5 points per reception.
Yes.
And it's like, my wide receivers can't even come close to that.
It's 1.5 bonus on a full point.
Over
so
a full
2.5.
Point. Exactly.
So my point being is like there's a couple of leagues where somebody will come in and I'll say, hey, what are you looking to get for this wide receiver? And they'll have in their mind that this wide receiver is worth what the normal market is for him. And then I'll have to show him, hey, Amon-Ra St. Brown last year in this league was the 40th or 50th overall player in this league. Top scorer in this league. I know in like regular leagues, he was in the top 5 of wide receivers, but in this league, the 5th wide receiver is the 50th overall player.
There were 8 tight ends that scored over.
Yeah.
And
we're not talking, we're talking tight ends like, freaking, what's his name for Tampa Bay?
Yeah. Cade Otton.
Cade Otton was outscoring people like Amon-Ra in this league. And Zeke was outscoring that year. Zeke was outscoring Amon-Ra St. Brown's. And like Justin Jefferson in his good year, or even last year, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase in one of these leagues was like the 15th top scorer overall of all players.
Josh Jacobs outscored Jamar Chase 2 years ago.
Exactly.
So, I mean, in this particular league.
And so you have to understand it will help you by and far if during this season, or if you want to go back and look at old records, just go back and look at previous leagues and go look at your leaderboards and see how drastically different if you're in some weird scoring leagues. So that you understand the market within your own league, and it will help you so that you can also know, hey, you might be able to get a deal for some of these running backs that people don't think are worth a crap, where they're like, oh, this guy's no good because he's not good anywhere else. Hey, but in this league, he's amazing.
He's money. Yeah, exactly.
And so, it's just crazy, but it's hard also when you do trades, when people want the moon for a guy like Amon-Ra. Generally, if you're not going to come at me with 2 firsts, but in those leagues, he isn't worth that. I would rather have Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is a consistently a better scorer in that league than Amon-Ra St. Brown on a week by week basis, and it's insane to think that in your mind, but it's true. The wide receivers in these leagues we're talking about, they're a secondary thing, and Everything you've ever learned about Dynasty tells you that that's insanity, but it isn't. Not in these leagues.
The first thing I do every time I join a league,
Look at scoring.
well, I don't even look at scoring. I go and look at previous leagues and look at previous top scorers because I want to see. Because sometimes looking at scoring, stuff kind of runs together. Like you don't get.
Well, I go to scoring first because if
concept.
it's a standard that I'm used to, I don't have to go to leaders.
Yeah. See,
but if I go to scoring and it's weird, then I do what you do. I'm like, all right, let me go look at the leaderboards.
I'll overcomplicate what I'm looking at, and like the 1.5, like you just said, tight end premium 1.5. Then you forget about the extra point. You're thinking that you're only getting that 1 point,
right?
That 1.5, but realistically, it's 2.5 per point, or per catch. Excuse me. So you go look at these leaders, and when you look at these leaders, you see that freaking Laporta scored 61 points 1 week.
Yeah,
and you go, how the fuck did that?
Yes.
So then you go reevaluate your leaders of the league, and it makes you realize you need to investigate instead of just going, hey, this is what it is. Okay, cool. And then drafting that way. A lot of redrafts, I learned it from that league.
Yeah.
Like when we were drafting that league, I was watching.
Well, you taught me. You're like, you showed me, and I'm like, shit, this league's broken, dude.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm looking at Josh Jacobs.
And then next year, I won 2 of those leagues with the same scoring because I followed your method of getting a fuck ton of running backs.
Just load up on running backs. Running backs and tight ends, man.
Yeah.
I played without a quarterback 3 weeks and still won by 20 points.
Yeah.
Just because I had George Kittle and Laporta, and Kittle was putting up 40, 50 points a week, so I just and even last year, I think 12 of my guys were on IR.
Yeah.
And I still finished like 4th or 5th overall. Yeah. Like I still competed. But yeah, no, and
I won that league because I went and got all the Turtles running backs.
Yeah, you got all the running backs. Yeah,
I had Barkley, who was dominating that league.
Barkley was the man.
And then I was in a redraft with the same scoring, and while everybody was in the early rounds drafting quarterbacks and wide receivers, I was drafting running backs and tight ends. I got lucky because nobody didn't draft. It was a redraft. Jaden Daniels, I got him in like the 7th round.
Yeah,
I was running with Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. Those are the only 2 quarterbacks I had in that redraft. And then I had Barkley and freaking Mixon, and I mean I had them all. I dominated that league, but
it's gold if you when you realize it all clicks and you can read a league and see it for what it is. It's so
and
much.
It helps you know the value of your own players.
Yes,
so that if somebody comes at you with garbage, or if they come at you overpaying, if you got Justin Jefferson and you're in a league where Justin Jefferson is going to be the 15th or 16th best case overall score in that league, and somebody comes at you with early firsts and a quarterback or a running back or whatever,
or they go, let me give you Saquon Barkley and a
2
second
firsts,
or even if they just come with Saquon Barkley and a second in that league,
I'd probably still do. I'd still do just because unless they know the market, I'm still going to. I'm going to capitalize.
You can have Saquon Barkley. That is capitalizing.
That's true.
I mean, Justin Jefferson. Don't get me wrong, top scorer all the way around.
Yeah,
but
my point being is that you can still capitalize in these leagues with these Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson type players.
Yeah,
if you understand the scoring and you know it. I mean, I was in an IDP league. I am in 2 IDP best ball leagues where defensive players will score you 50 or 60 points a week.
Yeah.
The scoring in that league is outrageous.
For defensive players.
Yeah, for defensive players. I mean, even for offensive players, but more so. And he built it that way. He built it because he wanted these crazy, like at the end of every week, the winning, like you scored over 300 total points as a team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because you're running every week. You're running out there 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 defensive ends, and then 2 flexes.
Oh,
and not to mention all your offensive players.
Yeah,
and so it's a dynasty.
It's a big ass team.
Oh, it's a big ass roster. So
yeah,
and so I started checking the leaderboards every week. That's how I would do my waivers. I'm like, all right, what defensive players are hot right now? I started stacking them, and it helps me get rid of players on my team that aren't performing. It's like if I got a defensive player who's only getting me like 15 or 20 a week, he's gone. That dude's trash.
Yeah, this guy's not gonna hold up.
Yes.
When you have multiple options like that, that's awesome. When you can play like 5 and 6
and I'll say in IDP leagues, I don't really know, like the top guys for the most part, but it's so arbitrary. There's so many guys out there you don't really know their name unless you're just a fucking weirdo when it comes to knowing players that are really, really good or dominating. That you can really, if you do your homework or you know how to work the leagues, you can really capitalize in some of these IDP leagues by just knowing how to check your leaderboards.
Yep. Especially when it comes to waivers. When it comes to waivers,
Absolutely.
that night before you see what they did,
Yeah.
and then you can look at previous weeks and be like, "Dude, this guy's been putting up 27 points a week."
Absolutely.
Like,
And they
like
get
religion.
defensive players get hurt so much they'll go out and people forget about them.
Yep.
You know, and then you'll get somebody like I had Billy Wagner, who's old as balls, but the dude was dominating. He got dropped waivers because he got hurt.
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner, sorry.
Yeah, I got you.
There was a Billy Wagner, but he played baseball in the 80s.
Yeah, he also played in the 90s too. He played for the Royals.
Yeah.
He was a pitcher for the Royals.
Yep, you're right. All right. Well, there it is. There's some bitching and moaning about trades I wanted to get off my chest.
Yeah, fuck them trades.
That's the last of our rookie review. So, like I said, next week, if we can get it, if we can make it happen, we're going to try to do a rookie mock draft. It'll probably be a 2-round, maybe a 3-round, depending on how we're feeling. And then we're going to start really getting ready for the redraft season, start breaking these teams down, start looking at them, looking at these divisions, seeing who we like, who we don't like, and where we think they're going to go. So,
Yes.
if anything we say or do helps you get to that average place in your leagues, and we did our job, because we all know if you finish average, you didn't finish last.
That's true.
So, hope you guys have a good one out there, and we shall talk to you the next time we fire all this shit up.
Later.
Holla.